Panic selling. It is definitely amongst us at the moment in the Pokemon card investing community. In case you've been living under a rock, there's a lot of modern sealed products in particular that have been decreasing in value, not significantly, but a little bit. Enough to scare people off in the hobby right now. And as a result, we're seeing a lot of people liquidate their assets. So liquidate sealed Pokemon cards, slabs, individual raw cards, cash in on the money that maybe they feel like they're going to lose if they hold on to them. I'm here to bring some voice of reason to this topic. So today's topic is talking about panic selling and liquidating your cards. And maybe not that being the best idea. This is one of those videos where you don't need to watch. You can certainly listen, please, because that's what it's all about. There are no graphics on the screen. So this is one of those videos if you're going for a cruise in the car, pop it on the vehicle via Bluetooth. If you're going for a walk and got the headphones in, by all means have a listen. If you're doing some housework around home, pop it on the telly. This is one of those videos you don't need to watch. This is just tune in and listen. So let's talk about liquidating. There's been a fair few items everywhere for sale, whether you're on Facebook groups, whether you're on different online forums, whether you're on Reddit, whether you're on eBay, whatever it might be, there are so many different people selling a lot of modern sealed product. I think the biggest one, which a few YouTubers have done videos on, so I certainly don't want to steal anyone's thunder and I'm not going to talk about it too much, and I can't even remember where it was. I think it was somewhere in Southeast Asia. Was it in Malaysia maybe? Correct me if I'm wrong, but this gentleman went sort of live and went a bit viral with it, selling a massive Pokemon card collection, particularly modern sealed product from sort of that Sword and Shield era onwards. We're talking a lot of elite trainer boxes, a lot of collection boxes, booster boxes thrown into the mix. I think there was slabs in there as well. And it sold for a very hefty price. I haven't actually watched all the videos on it, but I do know that is one. I've also seen countless other examples where content creators and or just the general public are doing big sales on modern sealed, trying to, I suppose, liquidate before the crash goes even further in their eyes. And look, I don't think people need to worry about that. And I guess that moves me on to the next part of this video, which is, okay, we've set the scene. There is some panic selling happening. There is some people liquidating some of their assets. And look, when it comes to that, and the next point I wanted to make, I think those people that are making those moves are either people that are one, panic selling, or two, people that came for the free money and are just leaving because they don't feel it's quite there anymore. So when it comes to panic selling, that's some of the things I've seen. I've seen some people literally put ads up saying, I need the cash. We all know it's Christmas time, we all know it's holiday season, we all know there's lots of bills and life's expensive, and there are people just saying, hey look, you know, I've pumped maybe a couple of $1,000s into Pokemon cards, whether it's slabs or sealed, and you know, maybe it's not appreciating as quickly as I thought it would. Maybe, you know, this small decrease in the market has just made me realize that I might have to hold this for a lot longer than what I thought I had to hold this to make money. And therefore I just need to sell it. Like I need the money. I need to buy Christmas presents. I need to go on vacation. I need to pay for my mortgage, whatever it might be. There's those people that are literally just panic selling and liquidating sealed and singled Pokemon cards. Then there's the other side of people that just chase money. And no matter what it is in life, there's always going to be people that chase money, isn't there? Like, whatever industry it is, there's just people that chase it. And there's this old saying that I like to use, which is fast money equals slow problems. We all know those people, we've all seen them in our lives that just have all these different business ideas where they're just chasing fast money. And it always inevitably seems to come back and bite them in one way, shape or form. And that's, you know, people call them the sneaker bros or investment bros in this hobby, but there are people, and I'll certainly agree with it, there are people that literally buy products just to resell straight away for more money. So scalpers essentially. And if that's not happening and they can't do that anymore, then what's going to happen? They're going to leave the hobby. They're going to liquidate the collection they've got and they're going to leave the hobby and they're going to go find the next thing where they can make fast money from. They're probably never true Pokemon fans. They just use this as a vessel or a way to make fast money. And look, whatever, like you do what you want to do. It's not personally, I don't sit great with it. It doesn't, you know, completely agree with me, but, and I don't do that. You know, I'm just as much a collector at heart. Like I love the Pokemon TCG. I love sealed Pokemon products. I love collecting singles that I like. So I don't know, that just doesn't sit right with me. Before we move on to the next part of this video, which is some rules around investing, I just wanted to talk about two things. The first one being, And look, this isn't something that we should touch on lightly, and I wasn't sure whether I should even add it to the YouTube channel, but I thought I should, because we're doing it at work, and it's an important topic to talk about, and that is Movember. In case you haven't realized or heard about Movember before, it's that space in November, hence the play on words, Movember, where men can grow a mo and therefore, support some of the challenges that men face in life, whether it's things like prostate or testicular cancer, which is of course solely men going to be affected by those things, and of course men's mental health and suicide prevention. And I thought maybe this is a vessel where we could gain some support for those sort of things. So there will be a link in the bio of this video. I shaved on the 31st of October. I did a clean shave, and I will start the mow from afresh. So what are we up to now? Day 10 of November. And I want to see, I guess, how the mow will look by the end of November. And that's the whole idea. So if you see me with a mow in my videos for the rest of November, it is because of that very cause. So if you would like to donate to it, there'll be a link in the description of this video where you can donate to the cause of Movember. We've all been affected, I feel, in some way, shape or form, whether it is, a particular men's cancer or any cancer, but also, men's mental health. The predominant amount of my audience on this channel is like 97% of you watching are men. And, without going into my own side of things, everyone in some way, shape or form has had some sort of impact by their own mental health. Like it's a battle sometimes these days. So us as men should all get around each other. Also, thanks to the 3% of women that watch the channel. But yeah, if you would like to donate, that would be very much appreciated. We're doing it through work. There's a few of us that have joined up. My mow, I hope, looks absolutely filthy by the end of November. And again, like I said, link in the description to download it. And the second thing I wanted to briefly touch on, of course, is today's video sponsor, which is, of course, the Collector app. If you don't have it, again, there'll be another link in the description to download that one. The Collector app is a fantastic app. You can put your whole sealed or singles collection in there. You can follow my journey down in the content creators section. There's so many new things on this app which just make it even better. Like now, when you look at your collection, you can see market movers. You see what products have gone up in the day, what products have gone down in the day. In the bottom right-hand tab on your profile tab, you could typically only see how much you've spent and what your collection's worth. So your on-paper value, so to speak. Now, when you sell something, you can click on realized gains. So you can put in what you've sold it for and see your realized gains. You can also sign up to be a pro member, which unlocks you so much data. And data is the key to being successful in Pokemon card investing. So again, Collector, link in the description for those two things. Men's mental health and the Collector app. And again, just wanted to say, like, if anyone does take the time to donate, I really, really appreciate it. So let's get back onto the video. So we've talked about how there's a lot of people liquidating in the hobby right now. We've talked about how people that have come into this for the free money are certainly some of those that are liquidating their collection. And now I just wanted to talk to you about a rule. And this is a really, really simple rule when it comes to Pokemon card investing. Whether you're investing in slabs or in particularly sealed product, this probably relates a little bit more to sealed product. That is the rule of holding. Like, expecting things to just rapidly grow in 3 months or 6 months is not natural. What we've seen over the last 6 months, before probably the last 3 weeks when maybe things have started to retrace or level out a little bit, that's not natural. Like, it's not normal. They were massive, insane gains driven by so much demand for this hobby and lack of supply that it's just not funny. It was just a massive differential where demand far outstrips supply. And those two things are so fluid. They can change like the wind. And we've seen it lately in the last 3 to 4 weeks. That is one of the #1 rules of Pokemon card investing, is to hold your product, particularly sealed. Why is it more pertinent to sealed than singles? Because singles will go up in volume. Like PSA slabs, they don't decrease over time. They increase. The volume of PSA graded cards increase. Sealed, on the other hand, is a deflationary asset. More and more over time gets ripped open, whether it's by rip and shippers, whether it's by casual collectors, there's so many reasons people, I don't need to insult anyone's intelligence by explaining why people open packs. But over time, sealed product will decrease. So the amount of Destined Rivals booster boxes, no doubt that'll get reprinted in the not too distant future. There'll be more on the market. But in 5 years' time, there'll be less than what there is now. In 7 years' time, there'll be less than what there was in 5 years' time. And in 10 years' time, there'll be less than what there was in 7 years' time. Like, It's just a no-brainer. That product will slowly get open and open. So it's a deflationary asset. So that's why that is such an important rule when it comes to Pokemon card investing, is to just hold on to the product. These people that are expecting that fast money, like I said, fast money equals slow problems. It's just going to cause a headache, and you're just going to exit the hobby with the tail between your legs. And probably rightly so if you're expecting to do that. Now, with all that in mind, I think there's a little bit of a dichotomy here, a little bit of a difference between modern and vintage to mid-era products. So I think what I'm seeing, and correct me if you've seen different things, a lot of people that are maybe exiting the hobby are liquidating a lot of modern stuff. Like, I'm talking the post-COVID era stuff, like, basically Sword and Shield base onwards, maybe even Hidden Fates Elite trainer boxes, as they got reprints into Sword and Shield era, but it's a lot of that product that's getting liquidated. And I feel like the reason for that is, and we've touched on this, more than ever, those products are being hidden away, kept sealed, people collecting them, investing in them, buying cases, buying boxes, buying elite trainer boxes, collection boxes, thinking these are the things that are going to get me rich. And when we see that slight decline in the market and people's thought process click a little bit or change a little bit, and they go, well, hold on, this isn't the stuff that's going to get me rich anymore. Like, that's when they sell it. That's why it's a lot of that post, I suppose, COVID era, that modern era booster box and elite trainer box. So sealed product from Sword and Shield onwards seems to be the stuff that gets liquidated. Now, I'm not saying that vintage to mid-era is bulletproof and not never going to retrace at some stage in the future, because likely it is. But given the low volume of it, like, if anyone was collecting, say, black and white era booster boxes and going, oh, you know what, Dragon's Exalted, like, that is such a good Pokemon card set, which it is, I'm going to keep heaps of it sealed. I'm going to buy 10 cases of it. And you know what? In the future, we've got awesome ultra rares inside this set, or secret rares, I should call it, in the Rayquaza and stuff. Like, this is going to be such a good Pokemon card set. Like, it's going to be bulletproof. No one else is going to keep it sealed. Like, if anyone did that, hats off to you, because you've made an absolute killing on that set. So what I'm getting at is those eras where people didn't just lock them away and keep them sealed and have this huge amount of sealed that can come onto the market at any stage and therefore decrease the price when people are trying to liquidate it, they're the people who are laughing. And moreover than that, sealed vintage also seems to be very, very solid. Like, if you've got Skyridge, Aquapolis, EX Team Rocket returns, any of those EX sets with gold stars, like, again, you're laughing. Like, that seems a lot more resilient because of the low volume of it to any change in the market. Same thing with like low pop vintage sealed cards compared to high pop modern sealed slabs, I should say. Again, they seem a little bit more resilient because of their low population. And that leads me on to my next point. And it feels like there's a difference in money. We talk about this old money versus new money. It feels like a lot of the old money has gone into vintage. A lot of the people that are true collectors, true investors, true to the Pokemon TCG, people that maybe grew up with it, people maybe in their 30s, even people in their 40s that might have played with it or 50s with their kids young. Like, it's that old money that seems to be hanging on to those older sets, vintage, Wizards of the Coast, EX, even up to like Black and White and some of the early XY sets like Flashfire, Phantom Forces. That feels like where the true collectible old money is sitting at. Whereas a lot of the new money is in the modern stuff. A lot of the new money where people jumped on board to try and make those quick dollars is where it feels the new money's at. And that's where we, in my opinion, where we seem to be seeing this panic selling or the liquidating happen. Why? Because I don't think they're following the main rule of Pokemon card investing, which is holding, so you can see through market changes. And two, because maybe they're not just that interested in Pokemon. They just saw it as a quick way to make a quick buck. And that's a little bit sad, isn't it? I don't know. So with all that in mind, I think we've sort of summarized this video that the old money and the vintage stuff and mid-era stuff seems to be a little bit safer. The modern stuff, which is being stored away to endless degree almost, is the stuff that people seem to be panic selling and liquidating. I think to summarize, from my point of view, if you've got some modern sealed and you're worried that your Evolving Skies booster box has dropped in price by, $250 over the last 3 weeks, and you're scared and you think, oh, I should liquidate it now because it's only going to go down more, just go back to that number one rule. The rule is hold it. In 10 years' time, you know what? This little blip in the market that we've seen now that seems to have impacted things like Evolving Skies, which seem to be, the knight in shining armor for the whole modern TCG, it's just going to be a blip on the radar. Like it's not going to matter. Evolving Skies in 10 years' time will be a very expensive booster box in my opinion. So if you're anything like me, follow that rule of sealed Pokemon card investing, and that is to hold on. Thanks everyone for tuning into the channel. I really appreciate it. My name's Michael /Pokeoz, and I'll catch everyone next time.